I now give the floor to Ms. Amina Desiparo, the Tatar people of Crimea, the Crimean Tatar people of Crimea, Amina Zaparov.
Selam alaikum, saygılı dünya tamır halklar temsilciler. It is an honor for me to experience the diversity of unique cultures represented here and to become a part of the global struggle for securing human rights of indigenous people. Dear brothers and sisters, let me also share my story, a story of an indigenous Crimean Tatar young woman, a mother of 2 daughters, a former journalist who was forced to leave native Crimea after 2014 and start fighting for my people that today is again a vulnerable target for oppression. This fight once involved my grandfather, who as a child survived deportation from Crimea in 1944 and devoted his whole life to get Crimean Tatars back to their homeland, and my father, who had a chance to return to Crimea half a century after, and who kept fighting for the restoration of the rights of his people as a member of Crimean Tatar Parliament Kurultai. Today, I'm serving my people and country as a first Deputy Minister of Information Policy of Ukraine. 3 generations of indigenous people of Crimea who several times in their history could disappear as an entity and who never ever expected to witness sufferings and repressions again in 21st century. Russia's annexation of the Crimea in 2014 turns out to be crucial, as indigenous Crimean Tatar population is a target for the whole range of repression today because of their rejection of and resistance to the occupation of their homeland. On behalf of Mejlis, a self-governing and representative body of Crimean Tatar people, let me tell you about Crimea today, a stolen land, a peninsula of fear, as we call it in Ukraine. Since 2014, Crimean Tatar faced systematic repression acts, arrests on ethnic and religious grounds, political persecution, home and mosque searches, independent media shut down together with the Crimean Tatar and Ukrainian journalist attacks. The only Crimean Tatar TV channel, ATR, that has become a symbol of our cultural and language recovery, was forced to move out together with 8 other independent media resources. Crimean Tatar people are disappearing. Within 2 years, 21 people have gone missing, some of them found dead. The most vicious is the case of Rishat Ametov, whose body was found dead and tortured in 2 weeks after his single protest against the annexation. There is a video evidence where everyone can see the faces of those who pulled him in the car and took him to an undisclosed location. Russian investigation still has no response to his wife, mother of 3 fatherless young children. It is almost a ritual for the special law enforcement services fully armed to search homes of Crimean Tatars. Hundreds of houses have been invaded, windows broken, children scared. They usually do that at the break of the dawn. And when someone knocks on our door at 5 o'clock in the morning, our collective inherited memory says we would be deported now. What we have noticed is that those searches are not aimed at finding something. Instead, it is an efficient instrument of terrifying people and making them scared even to speak and express their position. I could speak for hours about this, but to conclude my statement, let me just go through some recent developments. On April 26, the Mejlis of Crimean Tatar people was banned and declared an extremist organization by the so-called Supreme Court of Crimea. Mejlis is not only a legitimate self-governing body elected by Crimean Tatar Parliament Kurultai, it is a part of our political identity as a main platform for the restoration of our rights and the embodiment of the right to self-determination. By banning the Mejlis, Russia disrespected the right for the strengthening special political institutions provided for indigenous peoples by the UN Declaration for the Indigenous People. Together with the Mejlis ban, everyone in Crimea got a clear message that Crimean Tatar is a people non grata and outcast. By declaring it extremist organization, more than 2,500 people, members of Mejlis, are under direct threat to be called extremist and therefore persecuted. On May 6th, last Friday, about 50 armed people invaded the compact settlement of Crimean Tatars, where more than 100 Crimean Tatar Muslims were just leaving the local mosque after Friday namaz worship service. They were demanded to sit in the buses and to go for the personal identity verification. Almost a month before that, 35 Crimean Tatar Muslims were detained and taken to the Department for Countering Extremism for the fingerprint and DNA analysis. The aim of those acts is to force Crimean Tatars activists to abandon Peninsula and not to be an obstacle in attempts to show the whole world an ideal picture of happy Crimean Tatars speaking Tatar, recognized as state language in Crimean Tatar schools. In the reality, it is totally different. My 9-year-old cousin called her mother from her school a week ago and asked in Crimean Tatar language when her mommy was going to pick her up. She was scolded by her teacher for speaking mother tongue. 97% of Crimean Tatar school students get education in Russian language. In 2014, right after the so-called referendum that the UN General Assembly has not recognized, I felt myself robbed. I made my choice of not keeping silence, and today I'm doing my best to be heard. I call on indigenous peoples present here to provide moral support to us Crimean Tatars at these difficult times. Thank you. Knowing that we can rely on the understanding and solidarity of world's 400 million indigenous peoples can make a world of difference to us. Thank you. Саголнос. Gracias. Merci beaucoup. Спасибо и дякую.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.